Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Watching Men. My name's Carl.
And I'm Mark. And
And
Carl, since we've been on the air, Double or Nothing's happened, which means we have the new TNT champion, which is Cody Rhodes, which we all thought that was going to happen. That was sort of signposted after he lost the belt to he lost the opportunity to ever fight for the belt against MJF. And the Elite won the Stadium Stampede, which is... We're having an interesting time in wrestling now where we've gone out of matches and works to scripted, more cinematic events. So we're all very much on the field hoping this is more of a rarity than it is sort of going to be the standard, so to speak.
so anyway,
You don't know what you mean. Honestly, Double or Nothing it started off very ropey, but the Stadium Stampede, if you tune into it, it was all right.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It's just nonsense to me. You're saying words, but I don't know what they mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like when I listen to a nuclear technician or something. There are words that I recognise, but the order that they're put in means nothing to me. There you go. Well, here's an interesting thing. Anyway,
Is it about Susie Lou?
No, fortunately, but strangely, maybe kind of inspired by. I don't know. Depends how you look at it. But we are trying our first time trying to do this podcast along with making a video podcast at the same time. So if you're watching this and all has gone well, or if you're listening to this and all has gone well, there will be a URL in the show description where you can go and check us out on video.
And we're currently having a who's going to be the most YouTuber competition because Mr. Fancy Pants over there has got his stream deck in all his lights and his little flipping thing that he says magic listening device turns stuff on. So as I'm on a bit of a budget, I've counteracted with a beanie hat purely because I really, really need a haircut. Imagine a cross between Terry Wogan, Noel Edmonds, and a Labradoodle.
Whereas the other week, I just shaved it off, gone, and it started to grow back too much already.
Well, speaking of growing like this thing here,
Beard?
this has taken me all lockdown, and you've probably woken up this morning freshly shaven, and now you're like a grizzly bear.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It does grow ridiculously. I remember when I was young, and I didn't want... I could never get a beard to grow, and now I bloody hate the thing.
Look at me. I'm 43, and look, it's like reverse. Oh, what's that thing that Gail Porter had, where all your hair just comes alopecia?
I'm not sure we ought to get.
Yeah, let's move on to some media stories, shall we? Because we're really selling ourselves.
So let's go for first story today. Obviously, the virus, as we all know it, is still kicking everyone's bottom, especially in the entertainment industry. But it's looking that cinemas are going to be really struggling to get any kind of customers back, and it could really just be the end for cinemas at this rate, because there's been surveys done where people just are not interested in going back to the cinemas, even when they open, and there's no word yet when they're going to open. But because of the kids movie Trolls, Trolls World Tour that came out earlier this month, that had done gangbusters on streaming and on iTunes and Google and various other platforms, and now it looks like there's a bit of a war on, because the studios want to make money. They can't make money while they can't release films. They are threatening to release them onto some sort of streaming device, and of course the cinemas are not happy about this, because basically they know they're going to put them out of business, and it's all going on.
With the Trolls thing, it was a unique experience, wasn't it? Because it was the first time we'd ever had a major movie go almost not straight to DVD, but straight to streaming. So it was an experience. And whenever you and I have talked about going to the cinema, the only experience we sort of share and sort of ruminate about is the cost. And I was just thinking about this the other day. It's there's a lot to be said for seeing a movie on day one, but I think that being just it on its own, I don't think it's enough to pull people in anymore, because people will wait at home and save themselves some money. I remember when going to the cinema used to be a really special experience, and there was all that, grandeur to it. You got to see the trailers and you were excited. And now it's sort of, well, what we haven't done for a while is go to the cinema because you feel like it's there and it's more of an obligation rather than going out for the experience. But the last experience I had was Rise of Skywalker. Oh.
Yeah, well, we know, but also the studios make more money from streaming, because I know like the likes of Google and Apple and all that take their cut, obviously, because they're, any content sold, digital content sold through their platform, they take their cut. But also the cinemas take their massive cut as well, and they not only need that share of the finances, they need the concession stand, they need the popcorn, the massively overpriced ice cream, all the little sweets and stuff like this. And of course, it's okay me and you going like on our own because it's one ticket. It doesn't cost us that much, and we normally have to self-control not to buy, a Coke that costs. I
always wear a big jacket. Exactly. Always wear a big jacket. Get down to Poundland, get yourself a packet of Haribo for £1, bottle of Coke, happy days.
That's it. And you just go in. So to us, it's no big deal. But if you're a family and you've got like 2 or 3 kids, then what? That's about £10 each one, depending on where you go. It's my local one.
Even if it's just a couple. I mean, £2, 2 tickets, £7. Mm-hmm. And then, you might want to upgrade to the posh seats, which are never sort of really worth it. And I don't just... Maybe it's just because we're old and that age of cinema isn't there, but I just don't, if you can wait. The only reason you'd go to cinema now is to avoid spoilers, because, unless you're there on day one, you can't go on the internet because somebody somewhere, even if you're not looking for it, you're going to hit a spoiler. And it's just like, well, thankfully I've got a very short memory because I got a spoiler from a film the other day. Walking Dead. Oh, I've just remembered it now. Bugger.
But that's the thing. I mean, like, not everybody can go to the opening day of a movie because they've got commitments at home and stuff like this. But they potentially could stream it on the first weekend, and it's a massive draw. It must be a massive draw for the film companies. I mean, I guess the only thing is legacy holding them back. The fact that, we need to get a film into a cinema so it'll like qualify for the Oscars or nonsense like that. Now, I'd love to see what would happen, for example, if moving forward and nothing changes, rather than just Trolls World Tour, they did something with like Marvel's Black Widow to see what kind of money they would Disney would make releasing a movie such as that, like a AAA movie with loads of excitement. Behind all these Marvel movies, they all make over $1 billion each. And I'd just love to see, I wish one of them would be brave enough just to release a movie, a high-ranking movie, straight to streaming, just to see what would happen.
Well, I think there's more possibility of that now because Disney has already got their platform, so they know all the stats. And I think maybe if there's been some sort of issue where, obviously, if you stream it on Amazon, you've got to give them a cut, or Netflix a cut, I would imagine, especially Apple.
Yeah, I just said that.
But then if you're streaming it directly, you have all the stats.
Yes.
And you can see all the minute statistics, which I think that's going to be key, I reckon. I don't know if they'll do it with Black Widow because... Well, hopefully it's not going to be it, and we've got faith in Black Widow not just being a woke movie because the characters there, it's already been established. We don't have to go through all the other stuff. Or are they going to treat it as like a completely start from scratch film? Do we know anything about the synopsis yet?
Apparently, it's obviously set before the events of Endgame. I'm not quite sure where it's set, but I know she goes back to her family in Russia somewhere. Actually, strangely enough, I was talking to an electrician who had worked on the film before being laid off and sent off home. Actually, the last film he was working on before he got sent home was the next Jurassic Park movie, which is obviously also been furloughed at the moment. But he was saying like the action looks fantastic on what he saw in the rafters and stuff on Black Widow. So yeah, I've got high hopes for that one. But
just as a side note, that Jurassic Park reboot, I went back and watched it, and when you go back and watch something, I was noticed how very staged it seems, and as in all the set pieces seemed very set pieced. It was like, it's only on watching it back. I don't know if that makes any sense. It was sort of, you could tell they were building up to a bit, but it was always like so rehearsed and so sort of, oh look, there is that dinosaur that we've just seen for the 15th time, but we're having to act surprised again.
Yeah, what can you do? I don't know.
We could create a podcast and whinge about it. That's what we do.
Yes, that's exactly what we did. So there you go. Well, something else we can look forward to now is Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted are coming back. Obviously, we think
we can look forward to it.
We touched on this last week because there's a bit of panic about it possibly being all woke and everything. But I mean, I think the woke aspect comes into it, where apparently they've got two girls playing their daughters, and they got a feeling. Someone's got a feeling. I don't know where this originated from, because I've not even seen a plot synopsis or anything. I think this is originating from, they think they're going to hand over the main part of the adventure to the daughters, and that'll be it. Either that, or since it's Bill and Ted, anything could happen. And we've seen in other movies that they can jump from one body to another body, because they did that in the Bogus Adventure, I believe. So I don't know. I mean, I don't like this thing where people scream out woke stuff before we've even seen it. I mean,
well, that's the problem, though, isn't it? It's like we already have an expectation now of, Bill and Ted have had kids. Cool, they're both female. Okay, and then because of the age and the nature of stuff that we've just been through, we're automatically going, oh God, there's that sigh of resignation of just going, oh, here we go again. Oh, what agenda is going to be pushed in a film again? And I think you're right. I completely agree. We shouldn't have that, but I just think we're just all getting so burnt and so jaded by what's been happening. That is just an expectation for it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I don't know. I don't know what to trust anymore. I don't think it will be, but then I mean, it's always a possibility, so it's tricky to see. But I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that your man who plays Joe Wick, Keanu Reeves, he's just too cool now. There is no way he could look like a doofus. Whenever you look at him, you just think hair that's way too inappropriately nice for a man who's hitting 40. A beard, that's weird. I've got a bit of an anti-beard thing going on for a man of his age. He always looks cool and in a suit. He was at E3 and he was like saying, you know what, cyberpunk, that seems a pretty good thing. And then you see him in the press being really annoying by someone going, yeah, no, can I take a photo? And he goes, yeah, sure. Do you want a photo? Do you want to do a podcast? Do you want to do a video? He's just almost too cool.
He's also very, very clever. I just realised I've had the camera on me all that time. Sorry, when you was talking. See, I've got to learn how to do the switching here. But apparently,
I haven't got a fancy dancy Streamlab. Although one of your men for the Mac and Forth show, he's showing me that there's an iOS app for that.
There is. It's exactly the same thing, actually. But yeah, Keanu Reeves is like really on the ball, because now, even like for a few years actually, when he takes photos with fans and stuff, he puts his arms around them, but he doesn't touch them. So he leaves a space between his hand and their back, because he obviously doesn't want anything coming back to him or being misconstrued like 5 years on from now. And, who can blame him for that at the moment?
He helped me with my shopping bag. Sexual assault!
But it was strange, because what you've just said, like John Wick, for example, when he done Speed, I thought, well, there's no way he can go back and be Bill or Ted. I can't remember what character he plays now. But I bet the other guy is happy for the work, because I don't think I've seen him in anything since Bill and Ted.
Now, here's a quick podcast question. What one is Bill and what one is Ted?
I just said I don't know.
Why am I not? It's this beanie hat. I'm missing out. I've had to turn the speakers down because it was coming through the microphones. If I'm repeating things, it's either my beanie hat or hang on, let me turn. Oh, look at this! I'm using hotkeys. Check me out being the vlogger. I haven't got the 99p suntan look that you've got though.
You cheek. I've gone for the Trump. But yeah. Anyway, so I am looking forward to it. I didn't think there'd ever be another one. I thought they were too old to now. Now I'm waiting to see how they do Bill and Ted, because I remember watching it while I was young. I was like late teens, early 20s. I can't remember. But I remember it was in my rock days, and I had long hair and everything. Went around a leather jacket, torn jeans, all that stuff. Into rock music. Oh, dear.
Those were the days when music had at least 3.5 minutes of guitar solo. Otherwise, it was just a pop song. I miss that. I miss having a good, long, solid guitar riff in the middle of something. That's why if you want some good music, and it's a bit all over the place, Radio Caroline on the weekends. Because what did he play? He played Stairway, followed by Freebird, Uncut. Oh. And that's another thing that annoys me. When you get people like Steve Wright, I've even done that, put my finger down then. People like Steve Wright who play, Guns N' Roses, or Hotel California, that's the worst culprit. We all know how it goes. That is a song that is never, ever meant to have a radio edit. Otherwise, play the whole thing in full, like Ken Bruce would, or don't bother. It's like when they play November Rain, and the most iconic part is the solo. And instantly when they go, oh yeah, well, you've tickled me, sir, and you've not made me laugh.
I remember when like bands like Guns N' Roses and stuff got a bit popular, and every now and again, sometimes some of the songs the tracks they released would have one swear word in, and I would always wait listening to the radio just to see if they'd accidentally put on the wrong recording. And I'd heard it, I think I heard it once. They actually played the wrong one, and it had the swear word in it, and they had to come online and apologise.
Well, here's a question for you, right? Why do they still do talking over the intro? Because I know why they used to do it. It was to stop you pirating. But if anyone out there's watching this podcast video thing, this might not translate well now. Has anyone out there got a tape recorder? Because even to do the basics like recording audio from your Mac or your PC, that's still a bit of a faff. So I don't see why they still got to hit the vocal.
I don't know. I don't know many of them do. I don't really listen to commercial radio anymore, so I don't really know. I guess it's just the feel. Just like, they want continuous noise. I have no idea. Anyway, shall we move on to our next story, Mark?
Yeah, this is I haven't read this story yet. Whoops. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series based on Lisbeth Salander character in works at Amazon. Now, is that the picture that we've got on the screen here? Is that Naomi Rapis?
Well, it's hard to say because there's been 3 different iterations of Lisbeth, I think her name was. So there was the original one, the Swedish one, whose name I totally blank on, and then we had the David Fincher one, which was the actress you just said, and then the recent one was it Claire Voy who was playing the Queen?
Oh, you have a look here. Slander the main character has been portrayed on film by Naomi Rapis. What? As an adult toy by Telly Blad. As a child in the Swedish film trilogy of the first 3 books.
So
I didn't realize there's such a franchise. You've got a girl with a dragon tattoo, the girl who played with fire, the girl who kicked the hornet's nest, the girl in the spider's web, the girl who takes an eye for an eye, and the girl who lived twice. This all sounds very much like direct-to-DVD land for me.
Well, I think a number of those books were written after the original author died, so they're obviously cashing in because it was a very popular book, and it was a fantastic female character. I think it came out back in 2005 or something like that. It was originally came out. I'm not quite sure, but it was early 2000s anyway. So. How could there be a strong female character before Rey? Because apparently there wasn't any before Rey.
Wonder Woman, back in the 70s.
No, stop remembering people. This is
Nancy from RoboCop. She didn't take any nonsense. In fact, Nancy was so empowered. She's one of the only females in RoboCop that we didn't get to see naked.
Oh, God. And you really tried on that director's cut.
Yeah, but my mind. We covered the whole thing about when you blew my mind about the link between RoboCop and Coronation Street.
I don't think we did it on the show.
So what was the guy's name? But there was a guy from in Coronation Street. He used to be one of the predominant.
If you don't
leading
know
actors.
the name, it's not really going to work, is it? Wasn't it Brian Tinsley?
That's him, Brian Tilsley. And I thought Carl was genuinely making it up, and he's in it. He's in it not once, but twice. You've got Brian from the Cobbles in a future dystopian Detroit.
Now, if I can find the still, I'll drop it in here on the video part of the podcast, just to prove that it's true. Right? If I can remember,
your mind to be blown. It's once you see it, it's like,
wow. He obviously thought he'd have a Hollywood movie career, and he got one gig, as far as I'm aware. That was it. And I thought, I've left Coronation Street for this. Great.
But if he hadn't left, then Kevin wouldn't be with Sally and having that on-off relationship. So it all worked out for the best.
But it was a fantastic piece of acting as a reporter trying to get a story. It was amazing. I believed he was a reporter. There you go.
Twice, yes. Yeah, one was with the record. In one scene, I think he's got a tape recorder. In the other one, you just see him writing down stuff. And if you really want to spoil it, he actually starts writing down stuff before anyone says anything.
But anyway, getting back to this story, I'm really interested in this because I like the original movies set in, I thought I was Swedish or something. Well, I'm desperately trying to see.
It says here, though, it's going to take the iconic and much-loved characters set in an iconic world, in an iconic setting with iconic friends, and place it with a new setting, new characters, a new story that will resonate with fans of the original and thrill a whole new generation, according to Amazon. Danger, Will Robinson.
Well, of course, the thing is, she is an interesting character because she's an outcast, but she also wants to come back, and she like kind of fell for the guy that was the main protagonist in the movies, but then he already had a relationship, but he still slept with her, and it all got very complicated. But they're good movies. I mean, the David Fincher one is a bit slow, and they also see hoping that they get a franchise out of it, and they didn't really. I didn't think it performed that well.
Well, this is also quite hyped as well, wasn't it? It was like, every radio ident had the girl with the dragon tattoo with the guy, and this is another pet hate, when they've obviously got him into a sound recording and they've done la 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 la, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and then they clip the girl with the dragon tattoo really tight and really short. That's another pet hate.
Yeah,
but it was quite a hype. But okay, so retrospectively, can you remember? Did the film live up to its hype?
What one?
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
That's what I'm saying. So, right. So the second one, the David Fincher one.
Yeah, the one that had Daniel Craig in it.
Yeah. I mean, it did. It was fun. It was entertaining and everything, but it was just really, really slow paced. I mean, it really was. And then but it was intriguing. Unfortunately, I knew what the plot was by that point. So it's kind of, if you don't know what the plot is, it's even more intriguing because they're trying to piece together, all the parts of the jigsaw, obviously. And if you know where it's going, it kind of takes the edge off it because it is a like who done it or who's doing it kind of thing. So it is a good movie though. I mean, it's David Fincher. It's shot amazingly well and looks amazing. So it's well acted, fantastic like set of characters and actors in it. You couldn't ask for more. It's just slow. That's all.
But one thing that's not been as slow as the wait for our next item. The old Justice League. Oh. What? Why can't we just have good films? Why do I always have to like go think Batman versus Superman? If only they'd stuck to the original material. Anyways, you couldn't have a film without introducing more characters, but apparently there's something called a Snyder Cut. So the Justice League was finished off by multiple directors, but the one thing we've always been hearing about, that it was completely reshot and rejigged in terms of narrative. Well, apparently they're going to chuck out another 30 million on this blockbuster film to get what is known as the Snyder Cut.
Yes, I'm kind of looking forward to this. But the thing that's really exciting me about this is how much it's annoying all the what should we say, all the sort of Last Jedi type defenders in the press, because they hate the fans getting their own way, as if it's not them. So they're hating this. They're saying it's a dog whistle for all the nasty trolls online demanding that they, as customers, get what they want. How dare they?
Yeah, a good film with a good story that's not just been... I think the most offensive thing about this whole franchise is when they did Batman versus Superman, and it was like, it felt more of a long trailer to introduce the other characters coming up. There was one scene where it's in the Batcave, and you've got the 4 stills of these Avengers, not Avengers, and you're just going...
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, it was just one of those things. It wasn't very good. I mean, the trouble was, they'd pinned all their hopes on Zack Snyder bringing Superman to the big screen, and then eventually leading into Justice League, because they brought Batman in with the second one, and they put out this big long plan of what they wanted to do without seeing the returns on the first few movies. So then when they're in the middle of production for Justice League, and Batman vs Superman comes out and it bombs critically everything, no one likes this darn movie, they panic. And at the time, like, they replaced Zack Snyder with Joss Whedon. And now, unbeknownst to most people at the time as well, Zack suffered a personal tragedy where I think his daughter died as well. So he left the production, and then Joss took over. Now, but they were panicking because people were seriously rejecting this dark, brooding DC universe, because DC, they were trying to do the Superman and stuff, what Batman had done to it.
A character for known being really cheery, not dark and
for
brooding.
Batman it works because he's a dark, brooding character. It's all about revenge and stuff for him. But for the rest of the heroes in the DC universe, at least the ones in Justice League, they're all like bright, colourful characters. Superman is meant to be this bastion of hope. You know, he's not meant to be, I don't know if I should save anyone because no one really likes me. I mean, he shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, hang on. So what you've just described is Superman is basically, he's having the same issues that everybody else. I don't want to go to work because everyone hates me. But at least you've got a superpower.
That might just be you,
God,
Mark.
never happy, are you, Soups?
That might just be you, Mark. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean... But Wonder Woman, again, an upbeat character. Flash, upbeat character. Aquaman, when he's dressed in his orange tunic and green tights. Upbeat character. But no, they had to make everyone dark and brooding, and it didn't fit.
There was no comic relief. What they trying to do now, thinking back, is
just didn't work.
Yeah, like the Flash and Superman is very much like... Oh, I've forgotten the other franchise.
Marvel?
Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Well, okay.
So those sort of characters were trying the same sort of comedic thing, but because it's like that one film, and we already had a film where it's like one film bringing in 5 different characters from 5 different places and putting them all together. Why can't they have just spaced it out a bit more? Like, you know, introduce them in different films instead of trying to whack it all together. It's like Batman versus Superman. Wonder Woman did not need to be in that film. It didn't even need Doomsday, unless it was like, unless it's like, well, we'll do this. It's like if they just stuck to the good source material. But it's like what they said about Picard. It's obviously someone who's like I'll read half a chapter. Right, I've got an idea for a film now.
But that wasn't the case. I mean, the people who worked on DC loved DC. They knew what DC was. They just wanted to take it in a different direction. I don't know why. All I can come back to is Chris Nolan's Batman made them oodles of money, and they had his idea to present Superman as this dark, brooding character who was also troubled like Batman. And the way they did it, I mean... So Zack Snyder's cut is apparently about 4.5 hours long, and that's what they're going to finish working on, which is what the 30 million is that HBO is going to give them to finish off his vision. Now, we have no idea if his vision is any better than what Joss's vision was. Because although Joss came along and he had to make do with scenes that had already been shot, and if you look at the trailers, you can see that there were trailers that were colorized blue, and now they're red, and it's to hide reshoots and things like this. You can see a lot of the reshoots where they obviously called back Ben Affleck. He's started to put on weight because he'd like given up after it all, and so it's the only. Really, we're gonna, if they bring out the Zack Snyder cut, we're gonna see Batman fully fit and ready to go.
I'm going to put it out there that if they need help with Henry Cavill's moustache, I'm your man.
Well, that's the other thing. There's a whole subplot apparently when they bring back Superman, he puts on his black outfit, which he wore from the comics. Because there was even pictures of, like, I think Henry Cavill posted on Twitter the black Superman.
Yeah, because that's supposed to be his regenerative suit. He was supposed to go back to his main base and spend ages and ages, trying to get fit, trying to get back into shape and whatever.
Rocky montage.
Yeah, key montage. While Doomsday is going around destroying everything, but then you're in the death of Superman, and then you've already merged that with Batman versus Superman. The only good line out of Batman versus Superman was, "Do you bleed? We'll find out." But then they twisted that line around, and I'm thinking, you had a classic comic book moment, and you thought, you know what, we need to reuse that, and that is again another thing. It's like, why can't they just have that one moment and just go, right, we've got that, we've crafted it. Why do we need to pick it apart and try and copy and paste it? It frustrates me.
It's really weird what they've done as well, because the difference between Marvel and Superman. So, for example, in the Marvel universe, you've got the likes of Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and Black Widow and the Archer guy. I've forgotten his name. Hawkeye. So you've got these characters, and Black Widow and Hawkeye are basically just humans, but skilled humans. Okay, but they do it. They set the scenes up and the storylines up in such a way that they're still useful to the rest of the team. Whereas, and even the rest of the team, like Tony Stark is just really rich and he's got a suit that protects him and he can do amazing things in.
Yeah, he's also got intellect as well, isn't he? Yes. He can invent things and he thinks quick. So I think I know where you're going with this, Fred.
Thor's
like one of the main. Sorry, go on.
So Thor's a god, okay, but he's not omnipotent. He's still got his limitation. Hulk is just really strong, but he he loses control. Well, he did up until the most recent film. And then Captain America is just a super soldier. So he again is human, but he's a superhuman enhanced, but he still can't do flying or anything like this. So, but then we come to DC Universe and the characters they've decided to go with. Other than Batman, virtually everybody else is a god. Superman, omnipotent, he can do anything. He's a god, basically. Wonder Woman, not far off Superman. Aquaman, basically the same. In his movie, he picks up a submarine and makes it come to the surface. He's like, and like Cyborg, we don't really know much about him at the moment because we didn't get to see much. But from the fact that he's holding these mother boxes with Superman trying to pull them apart, you got to say, well, he's basically the same as Superman on strength wise. Then you got the Flash, who then Superman was trying to race at the end and caught up with, but just barely. So you're thinking, okay, so he's as fast as anything. Then they just shoot scenes where basically all these other characters reduce Batman to a guy who stands around.
A bit player in the background. Like, exactly. I'll take out the drones. You guys crack on with everything else. But then if you look at the scene where Wonder Woman's fighting, the guy who's trying to get the boxes. If we remember back in the Wonder Woman video, she was petrified of bullets from World War One. But now suddenly, in a few years, she's almost invincible. So I mean, you're only covering that much of your body with a shield. I mean, forget about the legs. It's the same thing of why did nobody just shoot RoboCop in the chin?
It is weird. It is weird. I mean, superhero movies are, absurd. Let's not get silly about this. But it's just that the problem is when you it's one thing putting these into comics because it's just one frame you got to shoot. You haven't got to show the reality of the situation. You just do a still image, and your mind fills in the blanks. When it's a moving picture of real life people, not a cartoon, you have to justify it. You have to show somehow that Batman is still somehow managing to hold his own with Superman. Even though Superman doesn't need him, he could just
Well,
flick
was there
him
any
away.
difference between Batman and Star-Lord in a way? If you think Star-Lord is basically a poor man's Batman, he's got no superpowers, but they still managed to make him quite an effective tool, whereas Batman is just big. It just seems to be like a mini Hulk just beating up people in the background.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. So I would be... I mean, I can't... The Joss Whedon Justice League was so full of problems. Like, you know... And it starts... The first shot... I can't believe they made this mistake. The first shot is that bad CGI...
Did you see the deep fake on YouTube where somebody
Yes.
went, "We'll deep fake this," and you're going, "They did this at home."
It's better. And it's better than what a multi-million-dollar, you know, cinema studio was able to do. I know it comes down to time, but still, it's ridiculous. The first shot of the movie, you go,
Yeah,
well, that
it's
looks
your
weird.
establishing thing. And even I thought that the acting was a bit hokey there as well. It felt like it was done. It looked like it was shot on the aftermath of the last day of shooting. It was like, yes,
Someone's
like, oh,
iPhone, and they're just saying, yeah, I don't even know what it was for. You know, he goes, so what he asked him a question, what's your idea of hope, or what's your, and he just, and looks off into the distance. What was that about? I don't know. I have no idea.
because it's a side profile shot of this one's for the ladies. It's like in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think it was, it might have been the one with Penelope Cruz in, and there's a really, really horrid shot where, so you've got the door here, I'm trying this in the camera, and Johnny Depp comes out and you see his face there, like in the body shot, but it's obvious that it's part of it and they slowed it down, but they slowed it down in such a way you can see it like and you're thinking, that just looks awful, and that got through the production process.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, some of the choices they make are weird when it comes to movies. I mean, I can understand it sometimes. They get to the editing room and they suddenly realise that they haven't got a shot, so they need to speed something up, slow something down, reverse it, you know, shoot the angle the wrong way round or something like that because they haven't got enough coverage.
But this is just it was like such a gratuitous poster shot. It's like, this is one that we're going to use in the trailer and in the teaser, and then maybe if we slow it down we can Photoshop it. It was just such a horrid shot, and that's what, it's not like I go in to watch a film and I'm overly critical and I'm looking at every small detail. It's just, with the amount of choice we have on offer, it's easier to be a little bit picky. So when they do make mistakes, it's really, really obvious. A good film like I watched, was it Coffee and Kareem? It wasn't a brilliant film, but there was no continuity. There was no major sort of fluff-ups. And so I just got into the film. But when you see things be so egregious with the techniques like that, it's it tickles.
It's hard. Shoot movies is hard. You just look at the amount of people involved at the end of a movie. It must be a flipping nightmare logistically. I have no idea how they do it. They don't just have one special effects studio working on these things. They have like 60 or like a dozen studios, and they all have to stitch it together. It's one person's job normally to make sure all this comes together into the final shot. I mean, you watch the makings of, and I'm astounded we get any movies nowadays. It's amazing.
It's I'm trying to get out of the habit of watching things like The Corridor Crew, where they watch the special effects and they take you through. In fact, we might do a special on this of the whole. Is it a good idea to watch the making of?
Afterwards.
And because I've got very mixed feelings. It's like, yes, it's a nice technical thing to watch, but then it's like, I kind of don't want to know. Like, it's like watching a magic trick, but not wanting to know how it's done. So we cover that in a special. Special.
Well, I think that's pretty much it, Mark. We're out of stories. I know we've only done a few this week. We've done 3 or 4.
Well, it's very much a test. I noticed that I've been out of focus for half the time.
No.
Have I not?
No, your finger is at the moment, but...
Oh, there we go. I did have a panic, actually, going behind the scenes. I was on another window and I pressed Command W, and I thought I'd shut down Ecamm. It was like, duh! Because trying to edit this together, because this is very much a one-shot take.
Well, yes, we're not doing it live, but we are recording it. I'm going to do a little bit of post-production. I've got to remember to put that image in. But, yeah, so like I say, if you are listening to the podcast and you want to see our mugs, there should be a link in the show description for you to go and check out, and it'll be a hidden YouTube video as well. So
okay. I was just about to drop it, and you know what, Carl? I'll tweet it using our social media handle @watching_men.
I'm just saying we haven't set up a Watching Men YouTube channel yet, so we want to put one out just to see if it gets any views, if anyone's interested in it, or maybe we'll just do something where we do a much shorter show where we just pick on like one subject to talk about, or something like that. I'm not sure.
Or we could do daily reactions like the tipster in the quarter and just do 24/7 coverage of Susie Lou.
Yeah, but I have to work, Mark.
I was going to say I'll do a solo show, but I know that just wouldn't. The very fact that we tried to set up yesterday and we did a practice on Sunday and I couldn't find the cable that I'd been using for the practice sessions because I tied it up. But let me know what you think of the lava lamp, by the way, and my Apple TV version 2.
Oh, that's what it is. I thought you'd sneezed.
It does look like something's had a bit of an accident.
A bit. That's it. So, was there any feedback this week that we should be aware of?
With
look
confidence,
at the panic.
I can say no.
Look at the panic in his eyes when he suddenly realised he hasn't checked. You can see it now.
I've just got a message. I just so happened to need to check. No, we have no feedback.
What? Anyway, okay. No worries. Well, where can they get in touch with us if they do so wish, Mark?
If you're listening, you could find us at anchor.fm, but then I realise you are listening, so you've already found us. But not share it. And also, if you're using Anchor, you can use Anchor to leave us a message and give us some feedback. Or if you want to do it the more traditional social media sort of way, we're on Twitter at watching_men, and we're desperately looking for our 16th follower.
Always looking for followers. It's ridiculous. We've become Twitter. That word I cannot say. So that's pretty much it from us this week. Like I say, hopefully the Joe has gone on normal if you're listening only, and hopefully you want to go and check out the video just to see, and please give us your feedback on the video if you have seen it, because we'd love to hear from you.
And plus, Carl has spent a lot of time setting up his one button to do what's about to happen in a second with the end credit. And it'll make him very, very happy to get some recognition on. To be fair, he's put a lot of time and effort into this to press one button.
No, I haven't, because that's for the other show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just leave us a tweet. That'll do. Ta-da!
Until next time, everybody out there, please stay safe and be nice to each other. Bye!